Hi, I'm Keith. I run this channel, Keith Trim Art. I also do Star Trek fan fiction, which is why you're here. I'm going to run some of my best paintings right in this spot here so you can see what I do as far as my artwork goes. I do sci-fi fantasy artwork, and you can subscribe to me for my Star Trek fan fiction or for my artwork. Let's get started on the Star Trek stuff first. Captain's log, stardate 3432. The Enterprise has been orbiting the moon Cheron for the last 6 hours, scanning the surface for spacecraft lost 2 weeks ago and reported missing under suspicious circumstances. Kirk was getting ready to leave the bridge when Scott called him over the comm on his chair. "Captain, I have some bad news to report." "What is it, engineer?" Kirk asked. "Our warp drive has shut down. I know why, but I don't know how." "What do you mean, Scott?" Kirk asked. "The software that runs the warp drive has been hacked, and in a way I can't fix it, and there is no trace of who did it." "How long can we last with that warp drive?" Kirk asked. "We aren't planning to leave until tomorrow." "The matter-antimatter drive also runs the ship's main power. Without warp drive, the Enterprise will turn to ice." "Don't we have reserve power?" Kirk asked. "Yes, but that won't last long, maybe a day or two." "That will give us time to evacuate our crew to the moon's surface. It's habitable," Kirk said. "Captain," Spock said, "we have over 400 crew to transport, and there is not enough reserve power to run the transporter for all of them." "Is that right, Scott?" Kirk asked. "Yes, Spock is correct. We might have enough power for half." "Why do you bother to fact-check me?" Spock asked. "It's a human failing, Spock. I just needed to hear it from more than one person." "How about the shuttlecraft?" Spock replied. "We have 3, and if we ran them continuously, it would take 9 days to transport all the crew. 5 days if half used the transporter, and by the 3rd day, anyone who remained on board would be dead," Spock replied. "There must be a way," Kirk said, rubbing his chin. "I wouldn't be so sure that the transporter is functioning at this time," Spock said. "Why do you say that?" "Anyone who would damage our warp drive probably would do the same to the transporter. And maybe the shuttlecraft software as well," Spock replied. "There's only one way to find out," Kirk said. Dr. McCoy stepped down and stood next to Kirk. "I hope you're not thinking what I think you are." "What's that, Bones?" Kirk asked. "Are you planning to test the transporter with a live test subject?" "Of course," Kirk replied. "How else would we know?" "And who do you have in mind? I don't think anyone would volunteer." Kirk looked around the bridge and fixated on one person, Chekhov. "He will be our test." Chekhov turned around and faced the captain. "Are you serious?" "I can't think of anyone else better suited," Kirk replied. "I refuse," Chekhov said, standing and stepping away from his post. "You don't have a choice, helmsman," Kirk stated as fact. "On this ship, I make the decisions, and my decision is final." "Why me?" Chekhov asked, raising his arms. "You are replaceable," Kirk replied. "So is everyone on board, including you," Chekhov replied. Kirk pressed a button on the arm of his chair and called Security Officer Dickerson to the bridge with 2 security officers. "I don't anticipate a problem. I think Spock is being a bit over-dramatic." "Then you test it," Chekhov replied. "When you transport to the surface, you can give us the all-clear, and we can start transporting crew." "Why not send Sulu, or the guy that serves coffee in the dining hall?" "Think of it this way. If you don't survive, you will be a hero, and they will erect a statue to you in your honor and place it in the center of St. Peter's Square." "I don't want a statue. I want to live," Chekhov said. The doors to the turbolift opened, and security stepped onto the bridge. Chief of Security Dickerson reporting as ordered. "I need you and your men to take Ensign Chekhov to the transporter and have Commander Kyle transport him to the moon's surface. Report back when transport is complete." "The transporter is out of order," Dickerson replied. "Really? How do you know? Kirk asked. I just came from there, and there is a mess all over the floor. The search crew that beamed up didn't materialize right, and it will take a shovel and a mop to clean them up. Well, Chekhov said, looks like you're off the hook. We will still all freeze to death. I don't think that any of us are off the hook, Captain. The ensign is correct, Spock said. We will all be dead in less than 2 days. There must be another way, McCoy barked. Yes, there must be, Kirk replied, scratching his chin again. Please subscribe. Please subscribe. I have 309 at this moment. I need 3,009. I do artwork. I do Star Trek fan fiction. Actually, I'm the only person on YouTube who does this. I've looked. Nobody else does this. So if you enjoy the Star Trek fan fiction and my artwork, subscribe, and I thank you for being here.